Okay, you've got to wait another few minutes for Instagram to do its thing. Um, there's always a lag, so I'm just going to wait for people to join in. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. People are joining in. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is your one and only WKa&x Doctor. Always bring you the best gist when it comes to moving abroad. Today is no different. I've got something interesting that you might like to hear. If this is the first time of you watching me, I want to say welcome. And for those of you that are here, please feel free to share this video to as many people as possible, so that they can be a part of this, and possibly this works for one or two or three people. Okay. Today I would like to talk about opportunities that exist in Belgium. Okay, Belgium is another one of those countries in Europe that is much more affordable and less expensive when compared to the traditional countries that everybody wants to go to. And as always, I don't like talking about these things myself. I would usually invite guests to come share their experience, come tell you how they do it or how they've done it. And so I have a friend who has lived in Belgium for many years, a Belgian citizen, and has helped many people move to Belgium as well through the academic route. Okay, so all you need to do is just try and listen, and I will take questions as they come. So if you want to move to Belgium, Belgium is one of those countries where you might be able to pay your tuition when you arrive in Belgium. Okay, and so I'm going to bring up my guest now. All right, I'm going to invite my guest now so that we can start this straight away. This should be fun. This should be fun. Okay, I've just sent my request and I hope they accept on the other end. I'm sending my request again. You will get the opportunity to ask all your questions. But let's start the conversation so that you can hear and at least listen, all you need to know, the full details of everything you need to know about Belgium as an option for you. I've just sent a request now, and I'm hoping that they join in. For those who are wondering how they can reach me, you cannot send me a DM. The only way to reach me is in my go to my bio. There's a link in my bio. Click on the link if you want to talk to me one-on-one. That's the only way to reach out to me. Hello, how are you? Good evening. Thank you very much for joining. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening,
Good,
and
good,
thanks for having me.
good. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Your sister is also joining, correct?
Yes, she'll be joining shortly.
Okay, okay. I'm trying to find her, but I can't find her at the moment. Let's get into the gist immediately. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, where you are, what you do, and all that.
Hello everyone. I am Ajima Obole. I currently live in Belgium. I am a Belgian citizen, as he mentioned. I got my nationality in June. I've lived here for 5 years, and we help, my sister and I help people who are willing or looking to relocate to Belgium via the study route. So we assist with the whole process, only for people who are really serious. So yeah, that's why I'm here today.
And that's why we want to share this information, so that it's not for everybody. It's only for those who are serious. And Belgium is open right now, correct?
Yes,
Applications
some
are open right now.
universities are open, others not. By end of the month, May, November, most of them would be open, but a few universities are already open at the moment.
At the moment, fantastic. So let's get into it. What documents do people need to have ready if they want to move to Belgium? They need to have these documents, and not that I'm looking for it up and down. What are the documents they need to have at hand?
First and foremost, your international passport, your WKa&x certificate. I would say it again. Recently, we noticed that Belgium insists on WKA&x, not NECO. They wrote it on the documents.
And by WKA&x, you mean high
High
school, for
school.
those who are not
Yes,
Nigerians,
yes,
for
yes,
those who
yes.
are not Nigerians and want
Yeah.
to benefit from this as well. Yeah.
Yes, for Nigerians, WKA&x certificate. So they would need your WKA&x certificate, your primary school leaving certificate, your international passport data page. If you want to come for a master's, they would also require your university certificate as well as transcript. So an IELTS. If you want to come to Belgium, IELTS is very, very important. We know just one university that lets you submit a certificate from your university that you were taught in English. Yes, proof of English, correct. If your university or your secondary school is willing to write to say you studied in English, they would accept you. However, if you have nothing less than a 2-1, they will not accept you. And the tuition is quite high for that university. We have cheaper options. So if you are looking for Belgium, the option of coming to Belgium, then IELTS is key. It's very important.
So for Belgium, you need to have your international passport. You need to have your secondary school or high school certificate. You need to have your primary school leaving certificate as well. You need to have your
from secondary school as well. If you're
transcript
coming
from
for a
secondary
bachelor.
school. You need to have transcripts from your bachelor's. You need to have IELTS. Okay, IELTS is compulsory in Belgium, so you need to have that if you want to go to Belgium. Now, before we talk about the step-by-step process involved, a few things we want to clarify. I told a few people that it's possible there are 1 or 2 schools in Belgium that would give you the opportunity for you to be able to pay your tuition when you get there. How does that work?
In fact, not 1 or 2. All the universities and the hog schools we've worked with, they give you the flexibility to pay your tuition once you arrive. In fact, some of them will not collect a dime from you until you arrive in Belgium. But a few others would require that you pay 1,000 or 2,000 euros. And then once you arrive, you can pay installmentally. So that's how it works.
And what is, so let's say 80% of universities in Belgium would allow you pay when you arrive. And what's the range of tuition like, and how many times can people expect to pay? How many installments?
It depends. Tuition starts from about, from about 1,000 euros up until about 18,000. I've seen 18,000 for masters in law, but most times, let's say the range is between 1,000 until 7,000 euros. And that 7,000 is even dependent on the course you want to study. But most of them, let's say most of them are about between 1,000 and 4,000 euros. And the good thing with Belgium, again, is for your masters, if you want, you could split your masters into 2 years. Like you could split it into 2 years and do some programs in your first year and the other part in your second year. But bear in mind that for the enrollment fee, which is a fixed fee you pay per year, if you decide to split your masters into 2 years, you would pay that fee again in the second year. So let's say the masters is 4,000 and for your enrollment fee is 1,500. You would pay it the first year and you would pay it again in the second year.
And so how many times can you pay this tuition? How many times? How many installments?
You have to pay it before May, June of the next year. If not, they would lock you out of the system and you will not be able to write your exams.
Okay, so if you start in September, you have to make sure you complete your tuition by May the next year.
Yeah.
Now you talked
They
about
said May.
IELTS being compulsory. What's the score? What score do you?
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 is good.
6.5. Okay, fantastic. Now let's talk about the process involved, step by step. We have the document, we have passport, high school certificate, university transcripts, IELTS. What's the step-by-step process involved in getting to Belgium?
After you have once you have your credentials, then we begin to help you. We discuss with you about the program or your choice. And then we begin to search for universities that offer those. And then we see their requirements. Some universities require you do your legalization before you can even apply. While in fact, we realized two universities we've worked with would require that you legalize first. They don't care whether they would give you admission or not. But the 3 people we worked with, they were given admission, that they just arrived in September. So some universities, which for me is a risk, because if you spend all that money and they do not end up giving you the admission, then you're sort of, let's say, screwed, right? But so some universities will require you do the legalization first, while others would say, okay, once you get the admission, you would have to then do your legalization process. So they would give you like a conditional offer of or conditional acceptance offer. And then you can now begin your legalization process, because you have to do the legalization process. If not, you would not be able to apply for your visa anyway, your study visa. So it's also a requirement by the Belgian embassy. You have to do that. Once you do that, then we look at the documents and then help you compile them, and then we put in for the visa application. Let me say it now. I am not a visa officer. I am not a visa agent, because I've had people send us emails saying, can we guarantee them visas and everything? We don't work in the embassy. We have no affiliation. We can just put you through the process and make sure that your documents are complete. After which, then you can go ahead to apply for the visa. So,
and what do you mean, for those who are wondering, what do you mean by legalization? What do you mean by legalization?
Most European countries, with the exception of France, I know, require that, because again, we're Nigerians, they do not trust our credentials. So it means that for every credential or document you have to first authenticate it with the ministries. And after which, once the ministry has authenticated to say that your credentials are genuine or are true, then you take it to the Belgian embassy for legalization. And then once they legalize it, then you can either begin your admission process or begin your visa application process.
30% of my subscribers and followers are not Nigerians. So is this process just limited to Nigerians or to everybody?
It's for everybody. If you're African and I think most Asian countries, because we're currently working with 2 people from Kenya, and they need to do, the process is the same for everybody. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, amazing. Before I go on to the visa process, can you tell us how people can reach out to you, how people can find you, how people can contact you if they are serious and they are ready to do this?
Yeah, they can contact me via my Instagram DM. Just send a DM and I would reply.
What's your Instagram handle?
Happy Travelers World. Happy Travelers _world. The Travelers has 2 L's. Yeah, you can just click on he's pinned my Instagram handle, so you can send a message. Alternatively, you can send an email to Suzanne Obole I hope I'm saying the right email.
I
I
think
really hope I'm saying
I
the right
think
email.
just to be sure, if you don't
Let me
have the
just
right
check
email,
quickly.
okay, but you can send a DM on Instagram to Happy Travelers _world. Happy Travelers _world. Just a quick recap of what we're talking about for those who are just watching is to say that we're talking about moving to Belgium. Belgium is one of those countries you can move to that is an alternative if you cannot afford Canada, US, Australia, and the big leagues. Tuition in Belgium ranges from about 1,000 euros up until 7,000 euros for a lot of courses. Majority of courses, 1,000 euros to 7,000 euros. Then you have, specialized courses like law and the likes that might reach up until 18,000 euros. But for majority of courses would usually be in the bracket of 1 to 7,000 euros. The good thing about Belgium is that you can pay your tuition when you arrive. You don't need to pay your tuition before you move. You don't need to pay your tuition before you leave. When you get to Belgium, you would have about 8 months to pay your tuition. So you can pay it instrumentally within 8 months when you arrive in Belgium. You need to have your international passport. You need to have your secondary school transcripts and your high school living certificate. You need to have your university degree certificate. You need to have your university transcripts, and you need to have at least 6.5 in IELTS. What happens usually is that when you get these documents, they will then apply for you, to the university, submit the documents, and try and get you admission. Once admission is sure, then you have to go through a process called legalization, which means that you take your documents to the Belgian embassy in your home country to try and verify the documents to say that they are authentic. If the verification process is gone through, then you can now apply for your visa. If you need help with this process, you need to reach out to them at Happy Travelers _world. Happy is HAPPY, Travelers, TRAVELLERS _world, WORLD, on Instagram, and there'll be someone to reach out to you. You can also send an email, correct? What's the email address?
Susanna Obole at gmail.com.
Susanna, that's SUSANA.
Yeah,
Ogbole is OGBOLE
at
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. At
Yes, I think
gmail.com.
Suzanne is requesting to join.
Okay. Let me see her. Okay, I can't find her here. I can't find her here. Anyway, while I'm looking for her, can you talk us through the visa process? So they've gotten admission, they've, verification has gone through, and everything is, sure. What's the visa process like? How much proof of funds is required? What documents do they need to submit at the embassy? How long does it take? Talk us through that.
Well, the visa process varies because last year we have a few people that weren't able to make it in time because the embassy kept their passports for over 3 months. And by the time they got here, it was already too late for them. They did grant them the visa, but by the closing date for new students had already elapsed, and they had to go back home, and some of them stayed back to find other alternatives. Yeah, I can see Susan, Mrs. A.S. Obole.
I have accepted. I've accepted several times. But yeah, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead. I'm
sorry.
listening.
So as I was saying, so it varies. One of the people we worked with this year, we started his process late, and we honestly didn't think he was going to make it, but his parents wanted to continue the process, and his visa took 2 weeks. 2 weeks, which for me is actually very, very shocking. 3-4 years ago, 2 weeks, your visa is out. Once you submit your documentation for the visas, they would invite you for an interview. And then during that interview, they have a written aspect and then written and reading and writing. Yes, reading and writing. So once you do that, just to ensure that you are capable, or that the credentials you submitted are again true, to be sure that you can read and write the basics. Once you pass that, then after a few weeks you would be you would get your visa, and then you can then move. For the proof of funds, you have to have a bulk account. They started it, I think, 2 years ago, because I think a lot of Africans come and then they don't pay the tuition and it becomes a problem. So they started the bulk account. 11,000 euros, you have to open a bulk account in Belgium and put in the money. And then, every month they would give you a certain amount. If you do have a family or a friend in Belgium who is willing to give you a document, then you do not need to provide the proof of funds or open the bulk account. You can also use a proof of funds from Nigeria, maybe from your own account or your sponsor, but it doesn't hold water. They can decide not to give you the visa with that. So the best thing would be to have a bulk account in Belgium.
All right, thank you very much. Suzanne, thank you very much for joining. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself, your name, where you are, and what you do?
I'm Suzanne Obole. I'm presently in Nigeria. I work with Ajima for the admissions thing, and then for the visas as well for school in Belgium. If you also want other countries around, we could also do that for you. But basically, that's what we do.
Did you at any point in time live in Belgium, or what's your story or relationship with Belgium?
Yes, I at some point schooled in Belgium. I had my master's degree in Belgium. So I have an experience of what the system is like as a student and as someone who has lived there as well.
Okay, fantastic.
But you currently live in Belgium.
Oh yes, I do.
Okay, you didn't say that. You said you're in Nigeria. So I mean, I'm wondering, are you in Nigeria
at the moment?
Okay.
I'm in Nigeria at the moment to be with my family, but I will return to Belgium.
Okay, so you live in Belgium, but you're in Nigeria on holiday.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. So people will be wondering, can students work because I mean, there's been a statement made that, you can pay your tuition when you arrive in Belgium, and then you can split your tuition about 6, 7, 8 months. Will they be able to work while they're in Belgium? That's number one. Are student jobs available? Number two is, will people be able to bring their families along? What's the plan if I've got family that I want to come with to Belgium?
Okay, to answer your first question, you can work as a student for 20 hours in a week. So you can use your student residence card to look for a job. That you can do. And for bringing your family, if it's for a master's degree program, you cannot bring your family, except if you have a sponsored PhD program. By sponsored, I mean the school is going to pay you. That is you're going to be like a lecturer in the system, so they are going to pay you the minimum wage, at least the minimum wage. So you are going to pay taxes, and then you can bring your family.
In a
Fantastic.
nutshell, the PhD is like a job.
Yes.
So they pay you, you do research and you do everything. So with that, you can bring your family. I think even with the normal PhD, it's possible because it's minimum 5 years. So they do. But I should add something. I was speaking with somebody who said a Nigerian recently moved with the wife. He came for the first year and the wife joined him. But I'm trying to figure out how that happened, and then we will update people that are intending to come with their families. We've worked with immigration lawyers, we've asked, it's not possible, but they said that. So I want to inquire how that happened, after which we would update, we would give you the update, Waka Waka.
All right. And one final question that I would like to ask is, you talked about reading and writing during the visa interview, correct? In what language would that be?
English.
Would be in
Everything
English.
is
And
in when your
everything is in
studies when you
English.
move to Belgium would be in
And
English.
you study in Belgium in English as
Yes.
well. Amazing. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Look, so finally, is there any other thing you'd like to pass across with respect to moving to Belgium, so that viewers can know?
I will maybe go first and then Suzanne can go. I think it's important to know that if you move to Belgium, in order to fully integrate, it would be good to learn one of the languages. It's easier to get a job that way if you can speak one of their languages. It doesn't stop. I don't speak well, but I have a job and they're flexible enough to let me work in English. But for you to be able to fully integrate, I would advise that you put some effort to learn the language. That's one. Two, coming to Belgium or moving to a new place, if let's say the locals are putting in 1% to get a job, you have to do 101% or 1,000% to be able to get a job. So that's also important to take note of. And then lastly, for PhDs, it's possible. We're currently working with someone who is looking for the options of PhD as well as the option of a master's. So if he does get a PhD, fine. And Susan actually helped her husband, who is currently also doing a PhD in Belgium. So we also have a lot of experience with that. And so there are two ways for a PhD, either to reach out to the professors or to see a vacancy and then apply for it. Because I've seen a lot of people asking for PhD. If you're looking for that, a PhD is more complex to get. It's more difficult. With a degree or a master's, we can guarantee you 99% that we would be able to help you get that. With a PhD, it's a bit more tricky, but we have experience in finding that, and we can be able to guide you and walk through the process with you. So yeah, that's something I also wanted to add.
All right, fantastic. Suzanne, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Yes, like she said, learning the language is very important because an average Belgian understands at least 3 or 4 languages. So you coming with an English is not an added advantage. They all speak English, but they would not want to speak English to you. So it's best you learn at least French or Dutch, they call it Flemish. German, not so much because the Germans are not a lot in Belgium, but then it's one of their official languages. So it's best you learn the language when you come as a student. And when you graduate, after your master's program, you're given 1 year to look for a job. So if you learn the language, it will be easy for you to integrate and get a job faster than someone who just speaks English. So for me, I think that is one thing to note. And you have to get a job that's after school, a job that will be willing to sponsor you, to give you a work visa. If not, you'll be asked to leave the country after 1 year. So I just want
Fantastic.
people to have
All right,
in
thank
mind,
you
yes.
very much. Last question I have for you. People with higher national diploma and second class lower students, is Belgium a place for them?
Well, for second class lower, like the school I went to, they don't consider people with second class lower. But then there are hog schools, they are like I would say our equivalent of colleges of education, but then they award a university degree. So those ones might consider you depending on the number of students they have for that year. For HND, there are some schools that will say BSc or its equivalent. So it's not all the schools that would take HND. I'll be honest, not all of them will take HND.
All right,
And the top
fantastic. So
university,
there
Let
you
me
go,
add
guys.
sorry, let me just quickly add something, Waka Waka. For the hog schools, it's like it's like colleges, but it's more practical than theory, and it's 3 years. After the hog school, you can decide to go for a master's, but then you would have to do a preparatory 1-year program and then enroll for a master's. My husband went to a Hawk school and he's doing amazingly well in his career. So the difference is not so much, to be honest. But yeah, it's better we put it out there as Suzanne has done.
Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. So Belgium might be an option for you. A lot of schools accept between 1,000 to 7,000 euros, depending on the course you're doing. We've talked about the fact that, the requirements, the documents that you need to have, the process of legalization, second class lower options, and HND as well. And you have that option of paying your tuition when you arrive in Belgium. If you want to reach out to these two beautiful ladies for help, it is not free. It is not free, please. It's a paid service, and don't bother them if you're not ready. It's important to clarify that. Send them an email at Susanna Ogbole. Susanna Ogbole is SUSANAOGBOLE or on Instagram. You can reach out to Happy Travelers _world. Happy, HAPPY Travelers, TRAVELLERS _WORLD, and I'm sure that there'll be someone to answer you straight away if you are interested. Look, thank you very much for helping me sort this out, guys, and let's see how many people we can take to Belgium. All right?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you too, and have a beautiful evening. Bye.